When we're struggling with OCD, it can almost feel like we're in a kind of trance where we're doing everything that we can to not be aware of that obsession. We're really trying to be in the present. We're maybe trying to enjoy our friends or our family or an activity that we previously enjoyed. But when we're in the midst of an obsession, it can feel like all of those things it's not that they're not important anymore, but that you can't really enjoy them because you're really fixated. You're in this kind of trance state where the only thing that you can really think about is the OCD. It's going around in your head. You're going around in circles with it, and you're looking for certainty. And I think a helpful thing, to think about when it comes to this is the analogy of a spotlight. With OCD, we're really using a spotlight in quite a negative way. We're kind of shining that spotlight on a particular problem that we've identified, and we've kind of told ourselves that as long as this problem is here, I'm not going to be able to be happy. I'm not going to be able to live my life. And, everything's going to be ruined because of this obsession that I have about this thing. And unfortunately, it can become a bit of a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy where, it's not that the things that we worry about happen. Those things, they don't happen with OCD. So often we're fixated on all of these terrible things that could go wrong. And, that those things never happen. But what does actually happen is that we feel awful. We feel miserable. We feel, that we're not really connecting as much as we would like with the people in our lives because our attention is constantly drawn to our obsessions, and we're getting kind of stuck in this kind of trance-like state. So I think that the spotlight is a really helpful analogy to understand what that is and how to kind of break out of it. So if you imagine your obsession, what we're doing is we're shining the spotlight on it, and we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to have more certainty about the obsession. We're trying to, uncover all of its mysteries. We're trying to prove to ourselves that nothing bad could ever happen, or that everything's going to be okay. That we don't actually need to worry about this thing that kind of keeps coming up. But of course, the more that we keep doing that, the more that we want to think about it, and we get stuck in that typical vicious cycle of OCD. And so with the spotlight, what we want to do is actually to kind of let go of the spotlight, to recognize that actually it's much better if you have a kind of a floodlight, a much wider and broader light that is going to illuminate all of the different aspects of your life and not just the things that you're struggling with. OCD wants us to stay fixated on those difficult things that we don't like and trying to get rid of those things, trying to have certainty about those things. But of course, in doing that, we stay stuck. So ideally, what we want to do is we want to take that spotlight. It may be pretty big and heavy, and we want to just throw it away over there. And instead, we want to get this giant floodlight instead and get that up above us, illuminating everything that's going on around us, so that actually we can now begin to really pay attention to all of the fantastic things in our life that might be going on, that might be happening, that might be passing us by, because we're getting tunnel vision, we're getting really fixated on all of these problems that we're trying to solve and that we're trying to have certainty about. And when we do this, well, actually, we begin to realize that there's so much in our lives that is going right. And I think this is a really important thing to understand about OCD. In any given moment, there is so much more that is going right in our lives than is going wrong. OCD wants us to focus on that small problem. And if it wasn't that problem, it would be another problem or something else. We've kind of got addicted to ruminating about our anxiety or about how we're feeling. And we're trying to, we're trying to get rid of that anxiety. We're trying to find a way to kind of stop feeling that way. And, these kind of ruminations or these compulsions, they do kind of help with that in a kind of temporary way. When you start to think about something, when you ruminate about something, momentarily you begin to feel a little bit better because you feel like you're kind of solving the problem. But actually, all you're really doing is you're shining that spotlight. You're getting yourself stuck more and more in the kind of trance. So what we want to do instead is to illuminate and pay attention to the bigger picture. And different ways that you can do this is to kind of, if you're out and about and you're with people, well, try to, pay attention to them. That's really broadening your perspective on things, taking in the big picture. If you are out for a walk and you find yourself getting stuck in your head then, well, really try again to pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to your senses and try to be aware of your movement in your body, what you can hear, what you can smell, what you can actually touch in that moment. And by kind of living your life a little bit more in that way, where you're really paying attention to what's going on around you and trying to let go of that spotlight and trying to refocus your attention a bit more onto the present moment, you can really help yourself to feel a bit better. And sometimes it really does take physical action. I think so often we're looking for some kind of intellectual way to get out of this kind of OCD trap. If I can just think about it enough, if I can just ruminate on this just a little bit more, then I'm going to stop because, I would have figured it out and then I can move on and do something else. No, that is never the case. What you're trying to do is you're trying to ruminate away your anxiety. And unfortunately, we can't do that. But what we can do is we can learn how to take action. We can learn to focus our awareness onto other things, focus onto our values, take action on meaningful activities. And when we begin to move our bodies and focus on more helpful things, well, actually, that's when we begin to let go of that spotlight. And, our awareness isn't so stuck on the problem anymore because we've come into the present moment. And your body is very intelligent. It knows already how to deal with the anxiety. But so often we're blocking that from happening because we're so fixated on trying to feel better now by kind of problem solving and ruminating and getting stuck in our heads. So the message for today is try to put down that spotlight. Instead, get a nice floodlight installed and really try to pay attention more to a bit more of a broad perspective of what is going on in your life. And remember, in any given moment, there is always more things going right than wrong. So many thanks. I really hope that you found that helpful. Please do subscribe for many more videos like this. And right now I'm doing a series of videos about sensory motor OCD. If you struggle with that, do please check those out. And I will see you next time. This video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis or treatment. If you are dealing with OCD, anxiety or any mental health concerns, please consult a licensed mental health professional for support.